Hook, American English, to 85 words. Under the burning afternoon sun, 9-year-old Lily Hart trudged through the rich neighborhood, a torn plastic bag of oranges cutting into her palms. Every step was for her sick mother, Elena, waiting in a cramped apartment with no medicine. When Lily rang the bell of the largest mansion on the street, she only hoped to sell a few pieces of fruit. She never expected the lonely billionaire, Daniel Ward, to open the gate or to find her mother's smiling photo hanging inside his home. She knocked on a stranger's mansion door selling oranges to help her sick mom. But when she stepped inside and saw a framed photo of her mother on the wall, everything changed. "Why is my mom's picture in your house?" she asked the billionaire owner. And what he said next left them both in shock. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe. Also, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? New York, London, maybe South Africa, or Jamaica? We want to know. The sun was burning hot above Lily as she walked slowly along the streets of the rich neighborhood, holding a heavy plastic bag full of oranges. She was only 9 years old, but she walked with the weight of someone much older. Her feet hurt from hours of walking, and her stomach had been empty since morning. She didn't complain. Every step she took was for her mother, who lay sick at home, unable to work and needing medicine they couldn't afford. Selling oranges was all Lily could do. She went from house to house, knocking on big gates, hoping someone would buy something. Most people ignored her. A few said no and closed their doors without a second glance. She didn't give up. Her mother had always told her to stay strong and never stop trying. Then she saw the biggest gate she'd ever seen. Behind it stood a huge mansion with white walls and tall windows surrounded by beautiful flowers and trees. She stood still, staring for a moment. The house looked like a palace from a storybook. But there was something sad about it, too. It was too quiet, too, like nobody really lived there. Lily took a deep breath and walked to the gate. She pressed the small button on the wall. Seconds passed and Lily thought maybe no one was home. Then she heard a crackling sound from the speaker. "Who is it?" a deep voice asked. Lily cleared her throat. Hello, sir. My name is Lily. I'm selling oranges. Would you like to buy some? They're very fresh and sweet." There was a long silence. Lily waited, her heart beating fast. She was about to walk away when the voice spoke again. "How much?" Lily's face brightened with hope. "5 oranges for $2, sir. Or 10 for $3. It's a really good price." Another pause, then the voice said, "Wait there." Lily waited by the gate, shifting the heavy bag from one hand to the other. Her arms were tired and her throat was dry. She hadn't had water in hours. But if this man bought her oranges, she could buy her mother's medicine today. That thought kept her standing strong. After what felt like forever, she heard footsteps coming closer. The gate buzzed loudly and slowly swung open. A tall man stood in front of her. He wore expensive clothes, a clean white shirt, and perfectly ironed black pants. His shoes were shiny, and his watch looked like it cost more than Lily's whole house. His face was handsome but tired with sad eyes that seemed to carry heavy thoughts. His hair had a little bit of gray in it, even though he didn't look very old. This was Daniel Ward, though Lily didn't know his name yet. He looked down at the little girl with her worn school uniform and dirty shoes. For a moment, something strange flickered in his eyes. Maybe surprise, maybe confusion. "Come in," he said quietly. Lily hesitated. Her mother had always warned her never to go into strangers' houses, but the man didn't look dangerous. He looked lonely and very, very sad. "It's okay," Daniel Ward said, seeing the worry on her face. "I'll buy all your oranges. You can stand right here by the gate if you're scared." "All of them?" Lily's eyes went wide with shock. She had 20 oranges in her bag. That would be $6. That was more money than she usually made in 3 whole days. "Yes, all of them." Daniel Ward pulled out his wallet from his pocket, but then he stopped and looked at her more carefully. "When did you last eat?" Lily's stomach growled loudly, answering for her. She felt her cheeks burn hot, with embarrassment, and looked down at her feet. Daniel Ward's tired face softened. "Come inside. Let me get you something to eat first. Then I'll pay you for the oranges." Lily knew she shouldn't go in, but she was so hungry it hurt. And the man's voice was gentle, even though his eyes looked sad. She nodded slowly and followed him through the gate. The garden was even more beautiful up close. Red roses, white highs, and purple flowers she didn't know the names of grew everywhere. A smooth stone path led to the front door of the mansion. Everything looked perfect, like a picture in a magazine. But it also felt empty, like a garden with no children playing in it. Daniel Ward opened the big front door, and Lily stepped inside. She gasped out loud. The mansion was enormous. The ceiling was so high she had to tilt her head all the way back to see it. Everything was shiny and clean. Marble floors, crystal lights hanging from the ceiling, soft furniture that looked like nobody ever sat on it. Big paintings and gold frames hung on the walls. But the house felt cold. Not cold like ice, but cold like loneliness. There were no sounds of cooking, no voices, no laughter, no music, just silence that made Lily feel a little bit scared. "Wait here," Daniel Ward said, pointing to a chair near the entrance. "I'll bring you some food." Lily sat down very carefully, afraid she might make the expensive chair dirty with her old uniform. Her eyes moved around the room, taking in everything. This was what being rich looked like. This man had a mansion, beautiful things, probably more money than he could ever spend. But why did he look so sad? Why did his house feel so empty? Then Lily saw it. On a small wooden table near the staircase, there was a photo in a beautiful gold frame. The frame was shiny and looked expensive, but the photo inside was a little bit old and faded. Lily stood up slowly and walked closer. Her heart began to beat faster and faster. She picked up the frame with both hands, which were now shaking. The woman in the photo looked younger and much healthier. Then Lily remembered. She wore a pretty blue dress and was laughing at whoever was taking the picture. Her hair was long and dark, flowing over her shoulders. Her smile was bright and full of joy. The kind of smile Lily hadn't seen on her mother's face in a very long time. But Lily knew that face. She saw it every single day. Even though the woman in the photo looked so different, so happy, so full of life, Lily knew exactly who it was. It was her mother. It was Elena. Lily's hands trembled as she held the frame tighter. Her mind was spinning with questions. Why was her mom's photo in this rich stranger's house? Her mom had never mentioned knowing any rich people. In fact, her mom never talked about her life before Lily was born. Whenever Lily asked about her father or about the old days, Mom would go very quiet. Her eyes would fill with sadness, and she would change the subject quickly. Lily stood frozen, staring at the photograph. Her mind was full of questions that tumbled over each, other like waves. How did this man know her mother? Why did he have this picture? And why did her mom look so happy in it? Happier than Lily had ever seen her. She heard footsteps behind her and quickly turned around. Daniel Ward had returned carrying a tray with a plate of sandwiches, some cookies, and a tall glass of cold juice. But when he saw what Lily was holding, he stopped dead in his tracks. The tray shook in his hands. His face went completely white, like all the blood had drained out of it. His eyes were locked on the photograph, then moved to Lily's face, then back to the photograph again. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The silence in the big house felt even heavier now. That's my mom," Lily said softly, her voice barely more than a whisper. She held up the frame so he could see it better, even though he was already staring at it. "Why is my mom's picture in your house?" Daniel Ward's mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked like someone had just told him the most shocking news in the world. The tray in his hand shook even more, and the juice in the glass rippled. He carefully set the tray down on a nearby table, moving very slowly like he was afraid he might fall over. Then he turned back to Lily, his eyes wide with disbelief. Your mother?" His voice cracked when he spoke. "What's your mother's name?" "Elena," Lily answered. "Her name is Elena." Daniel Ward took a step backward, his hand reaching out to steady himself against the wall. His breathing had become fast and shallow. He looked at Lily's face more carefully now, studying her eyes, her nose, the shape of her face, like he was searching for something. "Elena," he repeated, and the way he said her mother's name made it sound like a prayer and a question all at once. "Elena, she's your mother?" Lily nodded, confused by the man's strange reaction. Why was he acting so weird, and why did he look like he was about to cry? "Sir, are you okay?" she asked, worried now. "Do you know my mom?" Daniel Ward ran his hand through his hair, a gesture that showed how upset and confused he was. He walked to the nearest chair and sat down heavily like his legs couldn't hold him up anymore. "Know her?" he said quietly, more to himself than to Lily. Yes, I knew her. A long time ago." He looked up at Lily with eyes that were now shining with tears. "How old are you?" "I'm 9, sir. I'll be 10 inches 3 months." Daniel Ward closed his eyes and took a deep, shaking breath. His hands were trembling. Lily had never seen a grown man look so shaken before. It scared her a little. "Where is your mother now?" Daniel Ward asked, opening his eyes again. There was something desperate in his voice. "Where is Elena?" "She's at home, sir. In our apartment. She's very sick. That's why I'm selling oranges to buy her medicine." Lily's own eyes started to fill with tears as she thought about her mom lying on the thin mattress, coughing and weak. "The doctor says she needs medicine that costs $30. I've been trying to save up, but take me to her," Daniel Ward interrupted, standing up suddenly. "Please take me to your mother right now." Lily stepped back, startled by the urgency in his voice. But I don't understand. Why do you have her picture? How do you know my mom?" Daniel Ward looked at the little girl standing before him, clutching the photograph like it was something precious. He could see Elena in her face. The same eyes, the same gentle expression, even the point.com. Same way she tilted her head when she was confused. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might break through his chest. "Could it be possible after all these years, Lily?" he said, trying to keep his voice steady, even though everything inside him was shaking. "I need to ask you something very important. Do you have a father?" Lily's face fell. It was the question she hated most in the world, the question that made the other kids at school tease her, the question that made her feel different and incomplete. "No, sir," she said quietly, looking down at her worn shoes. "I don't have a dad. It's just me and Mom. It's always been just me and Mom." Something broke inside Daniel Ward at those words. A sound came from his throat, not quite a sob, but close to it. He covered his face with his hands for a moment, trying to control the emotions that were flooding through him. When he looked up again, his eyes were red and wet with tears. "Lily," he said, his voice thick with emotion, I think I might know why your mother never told you about your father. And I think I might know why she had to leave and raise you alone." He paused, struggling with what to say next. "But I need to see her. I need to talk to her. There are things that happened a long time ago that need to be explained." Lily was completely confused now. Nothing made sense. Why was this rich stranger crying? Why did he care so much about her mother? And what did he mean about knowing why her mom raised her alone? "I don't understand," Lily said, her voice small and frightened. Daniel Ward knelt down so he was at eye level with Lily. Up close, she could see the tears running down his cheeks. This powerful rich man was crying, really crying, and Lily didn't know what to do. "I know you don't understand," Daniel Ward said gently. "And I know this is all very confusing and maybe a little scary, but please trust me. I would never hurt you or your mother. I need to see her. I've been looking for her for so many years." And now his voice broke. "Now you found me. You've been looking for my mom?" Lily asked, her eyes wide. "Yes," Daniel Ward whispered. "For 10 years I've been looking for her." Lily's mind was racing. 10 years. She was 9 years old. That meant he'd been looking for her mom since before Lily was even born. Or maybe since right after she was born. A thought started to form in Lily's head. A thought so big and so scary and so impossible that she almost didn't dare think it. But once it was there, she couldn't make it go away. "Sir," she said slowly, her voice shaking. Why have you been looking for my mom for 10 years?" Daniel Ward looked at her for a long moment. He wanted to tell her the truth right then and there. He wanted to say the words that were burning in his heart, but he couldn't. Not yet. Not until he was sure. Not until he had talked to Elena and understood what had happened all those years ago. "That's something I need to talk to your mother about first," he said quietly. "But Lily, I promise you, whatever happens, everything is going to be okay. Better than okay." He stood up and pulled out his wallet again. This time he took out several bills and handed them to Lily. She looked down and gasped. There were 5 $20 bills in her hand. $100. This is too much, Lily said, trying to give the money back. The oranges only cost $6, and you already gave me money for my mom's medicine. Keep it, Daniel Ward said firmly but kindly. Use it for your mother's medicine, and for food, and for whatever else you both need. And Lily, he paused, looking at her with such intense emotion that it made her heart skip a beat. Tell your mother that Daniel Ward wants to see her. Tell her that I know she's alive now and I'm not angry. Tell her. Tell her I just want to talk. Daniel Ward, Lily repeated. Is that your name? Yes. Lily's mind was spinning even faster now. She looked down at the photograph still in her hands. Did you love my mom? Daniel Ward's face crumpled with emotion. A tear rolled down his cheek, and he didn't bother to wipe it away. Yes, he said, simply. I loved her more than anything in the world, and I never stopped. Lily didn't know what to say to that. She had so many questions, but suddenly she felt like she needed to get home to her mother. She needed to tell her mom about this strange, wonderful, confusing thing that had just happened. I should go, Lily said. I should go home and tell my mom. Wait, Daniel Ward said. He went to a small desk in the corner and wrote something on a piece of paper. This is my phone number and my address, though you already know where I live now. Tell your mother to call me, or if she won't call, then bring her here. Or he paused, looking uncertain. Or tell me where you live, and I'll come to you. Whatever makes her feel safe. Lily took the paper carefully and folded it. She put it in her pocket along with the money. I live in the old apartments on 7th Street, she said. Building C, room 12. But our place is very small and not nice like this. I don't care about that, Daniel Ward said quickly. I just need to see her. Lily nodded. She set the photograph back down on the table carefully, then picked up her empty bag. The sandwiches and juice Daniel Ward had brought were forgotten now. Neither of them was thinking about food anymore. Daniel Ward walked her to the door, then stopped. Lily, he said, one more question. Does she ever talk about the past, about anyone she used to know? Lily shook her head. No, sir. Whenever I ask about the old days or about my father, she gets very sad and quiet. She never wants to talk about it. She always says that the past is the past and we should focus on today. Daniel Ward nodded slowly, his jaw tight. I see. But sometimes, Lily continued, late at night when she thinks I'm asleep, I hear her crying, and sometimes she whispers a name. I think the name is Daniel Ward. Daniel Ward's knees almost gave out. He grabbed the doorframe to steady himself. She says my name, he asked, his voice barely audible. Yes, Lily said. She sounds so sad when she says it, like saying the name hurts her. For a moment, Daniel Ward couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Elena had been saying his name all these years. She hadn't forgotten him. She had been thinking about him even after everything that had happened. Go, he finally managed to say, go home to your mother. Give her the medicine she needs. And please tell her I need to see her. Lily nodded and stepped out the door, but before she walked away, she turned back one more time. Daniel Ward, she said. Are you my dad? The question hung in the air between them like a delicate glass ornament that might shatter at any moment. Daniel Ward looked at this brave, sweet little girl who had walked into his life selling oranges, and his heart broke and healed at the same time. I don't know for certain yet, he said honestly. But Lily, I think I might be, and if I am, his voice cracked with emotion. If I am, then I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry you had to grow up without a father. I'm sorry your mother had to struggle alone. Because if I had known you existed, nothing in this world could have kept me away. Lily felt tears rolling down her own cheeks now. She didn't fully understand everything that was happening, but she understood enough. She understood that this man had loved her mother. She understood that something had gone wrong a long time ago. And she understood that maybe, just maybe, her prayers for a family were about to be answered. I'll tell my mom, she said. I'll tell her everything. And with that, Lily turned and ran down the path, through the garden, and out the gate. She ran all the way home, her heart pounding, the money clutched tight in her hand, and a hope she'd never felt before growing in her chest. Lily ran through the streets, her empty bag bouncing against her side. She didn't feel tired anymore. She didn't notice the hot sun or her aching feet. All she could think about was getting home to her mother. When she finally reached the old apartment building on 7th Street, she rushed up the stairs 2 at a time. The building was falling apart, paint peeling off the walls, stairs that creaked with every step, and a smell of dampness that never went away. But it was home. She reached room 12 and pushed open the door. It wasn't locked. They had nothing worth stealing anyway. "Mom," Lily called out, breathing hard from running. "Mom, you won't believe what happened." The apartment was just one small room with a tiny bathroom in the corner. There was a thin mattress on the floor where they both slept, a small table with 2 chairs, and a hot plate for cooking. The walls were stained and cracked, and the single window had a broken latch. Elena was lying on the mattress covered with their only blanket, even though the day was warm. When she heard Lily's voice, she tried to sit up, but the movement made her cough, a deep, painful cough that shook her whole body. "Lily," Elena said, weakly when the coughing stopped. "You're back early. Did something happen?" Lily knelt beside her mother and pulled out the money from her pocket. "Mom, look. A man bought all my oranges, and he gave me this $100. We can buy your medicine now and still have money left for food." Elena's eyes widened as she looked at the bills in Lily's hand. "What? Lily, that's too much money. Did you steal this?" "No, Mom. I promise. A man gave it to me, a rich man who lives in a huge mansion. He was so nice." Then Lily stopped, suddenly remembering the photograph. Her excitement faded and was replaced by confusion and a dozen questions. Elena saw the change in her daughter's face. "What is it, sweetheart? What's wrong?" Lily took a deep breath. "Mom, the man's name is Daniel Ward." The color drained from Elena's face instantly. She looked like she'd been struck by lightning. Her hand flew to her mouth and her eyes went wide with shock and fear. What did you say?" Elena whispered. "His name is Daniel Ward," Lily repeated. "And Mom, he had your picture in his house. A picture of you when you were younger, smiling in a blue dress." Elena started shaking, not from the fever or the sickness, but from pure terror. She grabbed Lily's arms, her grip surprisingly strong for someone so weak. "Lily listened to me very carefully," Elena said, her voice urgent and frightened. "What did you tell him? What did he say to you? Did he hurt you?" "No, Mom. He didn't hurt me. He was nice. He cried when I told him you were my mother. He said he's been looking for you for 10 years. Mom, what's going on? How do you know him?" Elena let go of Lily and covered her face with her hands. Her whole body was trembling now. "Oh no," she moaned. "Oh no, no, no. This can't be happening. He found us. After all this time, he found us." "Mom, you're scaring me," Lily said, tears starting to form in her eyes. "Why are you so afraid? Daniel Ward seemed like a good person. He gave us money. He wants to help. You don't understand," Elena cried out then, started coughing again. This time the coughing was worse, lasting longer. When it finally stopped, there were tears streaming down her face. "Lily, we have to leave. We have to pack whatever we can carry and leave this city tonight." "What? Why?" Lily was completely confused now. "Mom, I don't understand. Why do we have to run away?" Elena tried to stand up, but was too weak. She fell back onto the mattress, breathing hard because his family will never let us be together because they'll try to take you away from me, because she broke down sobbing. "Because I've been hiding you from him for 9 years, and now that he knows about you, everything I did to protect us might not matter anymore." Lily sat down beside her mother, her mind reeling. "Protect us? Protect us from what? From who?" Elena looked at her daughter's confused, innocent face and realized she couldn't run anymore. She was too sick, too weak, and too tired. And maybe it was time for the truth to finally come out. She had carried this secret for so long, and it had eaten away at her like a disease. "Lily," Elena said softly, wiping her tears, "I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you a long time ago, but I was too afraid." Lily took her mother's hand and held it tight. "What is it, Mom?" Elena took a shaky breath. Daniel Ward is your father." Even though Lily had suspected it, even though part of her had known from the moment Daniel Ward started crying, hearing the words out loud made them real in a way that took her breath away. "He's my dad," Lily whispered. Really? Yes, Elena said, tears flowing freely. Now, he's your father, and I loved him, Lily. I loved him so much it hurt. He was kind and gentle and good. Everything about him was wonderful. Then why did you leave him? Lily asked, her voice breaking. Why didn't you tell him about me? Why have we been living like this when he has so much money and could have helped us? Elena's face crumpled with pain and regret. Because I had no choice, she said. Because his mother, your grandmother, she's a powerful, terrible woman who didn't think I was good enough for her son. When she found out I was pregnant with you, she said the pregnancy is not for you and threatened me. Threatened you? How? Elena closed her eyes, remembering that awful day 10 years ago. She came to me in the middle of the night with two big men. She told me that if I didn't disappear and never contact Daniel Ward again, she would make sure I went to prison. She said she would accuse me of stealing from their family and that she had enough money and power to make sure I was locked away forever. She said Daniel Ward would never believe me over his own mother. Lily's eyes filled with tears. That's horrible. She gave me $1,000 and told me to leave the city immediately. Elena continued. She said if I ever tried to contact Daniel Ward or tell him about the baby, she would destroy me. And Lily, I was so scared. I was just 20 years old, pregnant with no family and no money. I didn't know what to do. But why didn't you tell Daniel Ward, the truth? Why didn't you let him help you? Because I tried, Elena sobbed. I called him the next day from the bus station. I wanted to tell him everything, but his mother answered the phone. She told me that Daniel Ward never wanted to see me again, that he knew I was just after his money, and that if I ever called again, she would have me arrested. Then she hung up. Elena clutched Lily's hand tighter. I didn't know if it was true or if she was lying, but I was so young and so scared. So I got on that bus and I left. I went to another city and had you there all alone. I named you Lily because it means beloved, and you were the most beloved thing in my life. Mom. Lily was crying now too. I told myself I was protecting you, Elena said. I told myself that you were better off not knowing about a father who supposedly didn't want you. But the truth is, I was a coward. I should have fought harder. I should have found a way to tell Daniel Ward the truth. Instead, I ran and kept running. And now she looked around their tiny, broken apartment. Now look at us. You're selling oranges on the street to buy medicine for me because I'm too sick to work. This is what my fear has brought us to. Lily threw her arms around her mother and held her tight. They both cried together for the lost years, for the poverty and struggle, for the family that should have been but never was. After a long moment, Lily pulled back and looked at her mother with determination in her young eyes. Mom, she said firmly. Daniel Ward didn't know. He didn't know about me. His mother lied to both of you. I know, Elena whispered. I realize that now, but Lily, his mother, is still alive. She still has all that power. And if Daniel Ward tells her about you, he won't let her hurt us, Lily interrupted. Mom, you should have seen his face. When he found out about you, about me, he cried real tears. He said he's been looking for you for 10 years. He said he never stopped loving you. Elena's breath caught. He said that. Yes, and he gave me his phone number. He wants to see you. He wants to talk. Lily pulled out the piece of paper Daniel Ward had given her. He said to tell you that he's not angry. He just wants to understand what happened. Elena took the paper with trembling hands. She stared at the numbers written in Daniel Ward handwriting, a handwriting she recognized even after all these years. I don't know if I can face him, she whispered. How can I explain why I kept his daughter from him for 9 years? How can I ask him to forgive me the same way he's asking you to forgive him for not finding you sooner? Lily said with a wisdom beyond her years. Mom, you were scared and you made a mistake, but you did it to protect me. And now maybe we can finally be a real family. Elena looked at her daughter, this brave, strong, beautiful girl who had grown up without a father because of choices Elena had made out of fear. She thought about Daniel Ward and how much she had loved to him. She thought about the years of loneliness and struggle. And she thought about that woman, Daniel Ward's mother, who had torn their lives apart. What if his mother tries to hurt us again? Elena asked quietly. Then we face her together, Lily said. You, me, and Dad, as a family. The word dad coming from Lily's lips made Elena's heart break and heal at the same time. You really want him in your life? Elena asked. Even though he wasn't there before, he wasn't there because he didn't know, Lily said simply. But now he knows. And Mom, we need help. You're sick, we have no money. And I'm tired of being afraid and alone. Aren't you tired too? Claire was tired. So tired. Tired of running. Tired of hiding. Tired of being scared. She looked down at the phone number in her hand and made a decision. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, tomorrow when I'm feeling a little stronger, we'll call him. Why not? Today? Lily asked. Because I need time to think about what to say, and I need to take the medicine you bought so I can at least sit up without coughing. Elena managed a weak smile. I don't want the first time I see Daniel Ward in 10 years to be while I'm lying on this dirty mattress looking like death. Lily giggled despite her tears. Okay, Mom, tomorrow then. She helped her mother lie back down, then went to buy the medicine with some of the money Daniel Ward had given them. On the way to the pharmacy, Lily's mind was full of thoughts. She had a father, a real father who wanted to meet her, a father who had been looking for her mother for years. But she also had a grandmother, Daniel Ward's mother, who sounded like a terrible person, a person who had destroyed her parents' happiness and forced her mother to run away. Lily wondered what would happen when Daniel Ward told his mother about them. Would the old woman try to hurt them again? Would she try to keep Daniel Ward away from Lily and Elena? Lily didn't know the answers to these questions. But as she walked back to the apartment with the medicine in her bag, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Oh, that night, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay on the mattress next to her mother, staring at the cracked ceiling. Her mind kept going back to Daniel Ward's mansion, to the photograph, to the way he had cried when she told him about her mother. She thought about all the nights she had wished for a father, all the times at school when other kids talked about their dads taking them to the park or helping them with homework, and Lily had to pretend she didn't care. All the time she had asked her mother, "Why don't I have a daddy?" And her mother had just looked sad and changed the subject. Now she knew why, and knowing made her heart feel heavy and light at the same time. Next to her, Elena was sleeping fitfully. The medicine had helped with the coughing, but she kept tossing and turning, mumbling in her sleep. Once Lily heard her mother whisper, "Daniel Ward, I'm sorry. So sorry." Lily reached over and held her mother's hand until Elena settled down again. When morning came, sunlight streamed through their broken window. Lily got up quietly and used some of the money to buy bread and eggs from the small store downstairs. She cooked breakfast on their hot plate, something they rarely had money for. The smell of food woke Elena. She sat up slowly, and Lily was relieved to see that her mother's color looked a little better. The medicine was working. You cooked, Elena said with surprise. I wanted you to have something good to eat before. Lily trailed off, glancing at the piece of paper with Daniel Ward's phone number, which sat on the small table like a ticking bomb. Elena followed her daughter's gaze and took a deep breath before I call him. They ate breakfast in silence, both of them thinking about what would happen next. When they finished, Elena picked up the paper with trembling hands. There's a payphone downstairs, Lily said. I have coins. Elena nodded. She stood up, wrapping the blanket around her shoulders like a shawl. She still looked weak and thin, but there was a determination in her eyes now. They walked downstairs together. The payphone was in the building's lobby, old and scratched, but still working. Elena took the coins from Lily and stood in front of the phone for a long moment, just staring at it. What if he's angry when he hears my voice? Elena whispered. He won't be, Lily said confidently. He told me to tell you. He's not angry. He just wants to talk. Elena nodded, and with shaking fingers dialed the number. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Elena almost hung up. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might explode. But then came Daniel Ward's voice through the phone. Elena's breath caught. It was him. After 10 years of silence, after 10 years of only hearing his voice in her dreams, it was really him, Daniel Ward, she whispered. It's Elena. There was complete silence on the other end. For a moment, Elena thought he had hung up, but then she heard him take a sharp breath. Elena, he said, and his voice was filled with so many emotions, shock, joy, pain, disbelief, that it made Elena's eyes fill with tears. "Elena, is it really you?" "Yes," she said, tears now rolling down her cheeks. "It's me. Where are you?" Daniel Ward asked urgently. "Are you okay? Lily said you were sick. Do you need a doctor? I can send." "Daniel Ward, please." Elena interrupted gently. "I'm okay. The medicine is helping. I needed to call you. I needed to explain." "You don't have to explain anything over the phone," Daniel Ward said quickly. "Please, let me come see you. Let me see you with my own eyes. I need to know you're real, that this isn't just a dream." Elena closed her eyes. She wanted to see him too, so badly it hurt, but she was also terrified. "Daniel Ward, there are things you need to know. Things about why I left. Things about your mother. I don't care about any of that right now," Daniel Ward said, his voice firm but gentle. "Elena, for 10 years, I thought you had left because you didn't love me. For 10 years, I blamed myself, thinking I had done something wrong. And now I find out you've been alive all this time, and you had my daughter." His voice broke. "Our daughter, Elena. We have a daughter." Elena sobbed openly now. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have found a way to tell you. I should have been braver. I should have." "Stop," Daniel Ward said softly. "Please stop apologizing. Just tell me where you are. Let me come to you." Elena gave him the address, her voice barely audible. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, Daniel Ward said. "Clara, thank you for calling. Thank you for giving me this chance." He hung up and Elena stood there holding the phone, tears streaming down her face. Lily had been standing nearby trying to hear both sides of the conversation. Now she came over and hugged her mother. "He's coming," Elena said, half in wonder, half in fear. "He's really coming. It's going to be." "Okay, Mom," Lily said. "I promise." They went back upstairs to their small room. Elena looked around at the peeling walls, the stained floor, the single mattress, and felt a wave of shame wash over her. This was where she had raised their daughter. This was what her fear had brought them to. She tried to tidy up, but there wasn't much to tidy. She smoothed out the blanket on the mattress and pushed their few belongings into a corner. Then she looked at herself in the small cracked mirror that hung on the wall. She looked so different from the young woman in that photograph at Daniel Ward's house. Her face was thinner with lines of worry and sickness. Her hair, which used to be long and shiny, was now cut short and had lost its luster. Her eyes, which used to sparkle with joy, looked tired and sad. "You're still beautiful, Mom," Lily said, reading her mother's thoughts. Elena tried to smile but couldn't quite manage it. She was too nervous. They waited. The minutes felt like hours. Elena sat on one of the chairs, her hands folded in her lap to keep them from shaking. Lily sat on the mattress watching her mother with worried eyes. Then they heard footsteps on the stairs. Quick, urgent footsteps that got louder and closer. A knock on the door made them both jump. Elena stood up, her legs feeling weak. She looked at Lily, who nodded encouragingly. Taking a deep breath, Elena walked to the door and opened it. Daniel Ward stood in the doorway. He was breathing hard like he had run up the stairs. His hair was messy, his expensive shirt was wrinkled, and his eyes were red, probably from crying or from lack of sleep or both. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. 10 years. 10 years since they had seen each other's faces. 10 years of questions and pain and loneliness. "Elena," Daniel Ward whispered, and the way he said her name with such tenderness and such pain broke something open inside both of them. Elena started crying again. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "Daniel Ward, I'm so sorry for everything." Daniel Ward stepped into the tiny room and pulled her into his arms. Elena buried her face in his chest and cried, really cried for the first time in years. All the fear, all the guilt, all the loneliness came pouring out. "Shoo," Daniel Ward murmured, holding her tight. "It's okay. You're here now. You're safe now. It's going to be okay." Lily watched from across the room, her own tears flowing. She had never seen her mother like this, so broken and yet somehow being put back together at the same time. After what felt like forever, Elena pulled back slightly and looked up at Daniel Ward's face. "I have so much to explain," she said. "I know," Daniel Ward said gently. "And I want to hear all of it." But first, he looked over at Lily, who was still sitting on the mattress, watching them with wide eyes. Daniel Ward slowly released Elena and walked over to where Lily sat. He knelt down in front of her, bringing himself to her eye level. "Hello, Lily," he said softly. "Hi," Lily said shilly. Now that he was here, now that this was really happening, she didn't know what to say or do. Daniel Ward's eyes filled with tears as he looked at her. He reached out hesitantly, then gently touched her cheek, as if making sure she was real. "You're so beautiful," he whispered. "You have your mother's eyes and smile, and your nose," Lily said, trying to lighten the heavy emotions in the room. "Mom always said, I have a nose that doesn't match the rest of my face. Now I know where I got it from." Daniel Ward laughed, a sound mixed with tears and joy. "I'm sorry about the nose," he said. "It runs in the family." "I like it," Lily said. Then more quietly, "I like having something from you." That simple statement broke Daniel Ward completely. He pulled Lily into a hug and held her tight, his shoulders shaking with sobs. "I'm sorry I wasn't there," he cried. "I'm sorry you grew up without a father. I'm sorry you had to sell oranges on the street. I'm sorry for all of it. If I had known, if I had any idea you existed, nothing could have kept me away. Nothing." Lily hugged him back, crying too. "I know," she said. "I know you didn't know. It's not your fault." Elena watched them, her heart breaking and healing all at once. She had been so afraid of this moment, so sure that Daniel Ward would be angry with her for keeping Lily a secret. But looking at him now, holding their daughter and crying, she realized something. Daniel Ward wasn't angry. He was just heartbroken that he had missed so much. After a while, Daniel Ward pulled back and wiped his eyes. He looked around the small room properly for the first time, taking in the poverty and bare conditions. "You've been living like this?" he asked quietly, pain evident in his voice. Elena felt that shame wash over her again. "We managed," she said. "We had each other." "Elena," Daniel Ward said, standing up and facing her. "Why? Why didn't you come back? Why didn't you try to reach me after you left?" Elena took a deep breath. It was time to tell him everything. "Because your mother threatened me," she said quietly. "Because she told me if I didn't disappear, she would have me arrested for stealing. Because she said you would never believe me over her." Daniel Ward's face went pale, then red with anger. My mother did this." "Yes," Elena said. She told him everything about the men who came with his mother in the middle of the night, about the threats, about the phone call where his mother had said Daniel Ward never wanted to see Elena again. With each word, Daniel Ward's face grew darker with rage. His hands clenched into fists. His jaw was tight. "I tried to call you the next day," Elena continued, her voice shaking. "But your mother answered. She said terrible things. She said, 'You knew I was only after your money, that you never really loved me.' I didn't know what to believe. I was young and scared and pregnant, and I had no one to turn to." "So, you ran," Daniel Ward said, his voice tight with controlled anger, not at Elena, but at the situation, at his mother, at the lost years. "Yes, I ran, and I've been running ever since, always afraid that if I came back, if I tried to contact you, your mother would make good on her threats." Elena's voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm sorry, Daniel Ward. I should have been braver. I should have fought for us." Daniel Ward crossed the room and took both of Elena's hands in his. "Listen to me very carefully," he said, looking directly into her eyes. "None of this is your fault. My mother," he paused, struggling to control his emotions. "My mother is a controlling, manipulative woman who has always believed she knows what's best for everyone. But she crossed a line when she threatened you. She committed a crime when she forced you to leave. But Daniel Ward, she's your mother, and you are the woman I love." Daniel Ward interrupted firmly. "And Lily is my daughter, my family. Do you understand? Nothing. Not my mother, not her money, not her threats. Nothing is more important to me than you and Lily." Elena stared at Daniel Ward, hardly daring to believe what she was hearing. You still love me after everything?" "I never stopped," Daniel Ward said simply. "Not for one single day in these 10 years. I looked for you everywhere, Elena. I hired investigators. I searched every city. I never gave up hope that maybe somehow you were still out there and that you still loved me too. I did, Elena whispered. I do. I always have. They stood there, hands clasped, looking at each other with years of longing in their eyes. Lily watched them, feeling like she was witnessing something sacred and beautiful. But then Elena's expression changed. Fear crept back into her eyes. Daniel Ward, what about your mother? When she finds out, she won't hurt you again, Daniel Ward said firmly. I promise you that. But right now, that's not what's important. What's important is getting you proper medical care. He looked at Elena's thin frame, her pale face, the way she had to steady herself against the table. How long have you been sick? A few months, Elena admitted. It started as just a cough, but it got worse. I couldn't afford to see a good doctor, so I just went to the free clinic. They gave me some medicine but said I needed tests and treatment that cost too much money. Daniel Ward's jaw tightened. Get whatever you need. We're going to the hospital right now. Daniel Ward, hospital bills are expensive. I don't care. Daniel Ward said. Elena, money means nothing to me if you're not healthy. Please, let me take care of you. Let me take care of both of you. That's all I want to do. Elena looked at Lily, who nodded eagerly. Please, Mom, let's go. You need real treatment. Okay. Elena finally agreed. Okay. Daniel Ward looked around the small room. Do you have things you need to pack? Elena almost laughed, a sad, tired sound. Everything we own fits in one bag. Daniel Ward's heart broke a little more. He watched as Elena and Lily gathered their few belongings. Some clothes, a worn stuffed animal that Lily had owned since she was a baby, a small box with a few photographs. That was it. That was everything they had in the world. Let's go, Daniel Ward said gently. He led them downstairs to where his car was parked. A sleek black car that looked completely out of place on the rundown street. People stared as Daniel Ward opened the doors for Elena and Lily, helping them inside. Lily had never been in a car so nice. The seats were soft leather and everything was clean and shiny. It smelled new. She ran her hand over the seat, marveling at how different this was from the buses she and her mother usually took. Daniel Ward drove them to Riverside General Hospital, the best hospital in town. When they arrived, he didn't take them to the emergency room entrance. Instead, he drove to a private entrance and made a phone call. Within minutes, a doctor came out to meet them, a kind-looking woman with gray hair and gentle eyes. Dr. Lila Ross, Daniel Ward said, "Thank you for seeing us on such short notice." "Of course, Mr. Adams," the doctor said. Then she looked at Elena with professional concern. "You must be Elena. Daniel Ward told me you've been ill. Let's get you inside and figure out what's going on." Elena was taken to a private room, a beautiful room with a real bed, clean white sheets, and a window that looked out over a garden. It was the nicest room she had been in since she left Daniel Ward all those years ago. Dr. Lila Ross examined Elena carefully, asking questions about her symptoms, listening to her breathing, checking her vital signs. Lily sat in a chair in the corner, watching nervously. Daniel Ward stood by the window, his hands clenched, worry written all over his face. "I'm going to order some tests," Dr. Lila Ross said. "Finally, blood work, chest x-rays, possibly a CT scan. We need to find out exactly what's causing this cough and weakness. In the meantime, I'm starting you on in 4 to get some fluids and nutrients into you. You're severely dehydrated and malnourished." Elena nodded weakly. She was already exhausted just from the car ride and the examination. Over the next few hours, Elena was taken for various tests. Daniel Ward stayed with Lily in the private room, and for the first time they had a chance to really talk. "Are you hungry?" Daniel Ward asked her. Lily's stomach growled in response, making them both smile. Daniel Ward called for food to be brought up. Not hospital food, but real food from a nice restaurant nearby. When it arrived, Lily's eyes went wide. There was chicken, rice, vegetables, fresh bread, and even a slice of chocolate cake for dessert. "Is all this for me?" she asked. "For both of us," Daniel Ward said. "Eat as much as you want." They ate together, and slowly Lily started to relax around Daniel Ward. She told him about her life, about school, about her friends, about selling oranges every day after class. She told him about the kids who teased her for not having a father, and how she used to make up stories about where her dad was. "I used to tell them you were a sailor," Lily said quietly, "traveling the world on a big ship. I said, that's why you couldn't be here, but that you sent us letters and thought about us all the time." Daniel Ward's eyes filled with tears again. "I wish I had been sending you letters," he said. "I wish I had known to look for you. But Lily, I promise you, from now on, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be the father you deserve to have all along." "I believe you," Lily said simply. When Elena returned from her test, she looked exhausted but was hooked up to an 4 that was already making her look a little better. Dr. Lila Ross came in with a serious expression. "Elena, the tests show that you have a severe respiratory infection that's gone untreated for too long." The doctor explained, "You also have anemia and signs of malnutrition. The good news is that all of this is treatable, but you're going to need to stay in the hospital for at least a week, maybe longer. We need to get you on strong antibiotics and build your strength back up." "A week," Elena said, worry crossing her face. "But the cost is not your concern," Daniel Ward interrupted firmly. "Whatever it costs, whatever you need, it doesn't matter. Your health is what matters." Dr. Lila Ross smiled. "Mr. Adams has already taken care of everything. You just focus on getting better." Elena looked at Daniel Ward with tears in her eyes. "You've already done so much, and I'll do more," Daniel Ward said. "Elena, please, let me help you. Let me make up for the years I wasn't there." Elena nodded, too emotional and too tired to argue. That evening, after Elena had fallen asleep from exhaustion and the medications, Daniel Ward took Lily to the hospital cafeteria for dinner. As they ate, Daniel Ward brought up something that had been on his mind all day. "Lily," he said carefully, "I want to ask you something, and I want you to know that whatever the answer is, it doesn't change how I feel about you." Lily looked up at him, curious. "Your mother told me I'm your father," Daniel Ward continued, "and I believe her. I have no doubt in my heart, but there are legal reasons why I might need proof. Official proof. Would you be willing to do a DNA test?" "What's that?" Lily asked. "It's a simple test where they take a little bit of your DNA, usually just by swabbing the inside of your cheek, and compare it to mine. It proves scientifically that I'm your father." "Oh," Lily said. "Like on those TV shows where they find out who the father is?" Daniel Ward smiled despite himself. "Yes, kind of like that." "Will it hurt?" "Not at all. It takes just a few seconds." Lily thought about it for a moment. "Why do you need proof? Don't you believe my mom?" "I believe your mom completely," Daniel Ward said quickly. "But my mother, your grandmother, she's going to fight this. She's going to try to say that you're not really my daughter, that your mother is lying to get my money. If we have DNA proof, she can't argue with that." Lily's face darkened at the mention of Daniel Ward's mother. "She sounds like a very mean person." "She can be," Daniel Ward admitted sadly. "But Lily, I won't let her hurt you or your mother. I promise you that then." "Yes," Lily said. "I'll do the test. If it helps protect Mom, I'll do it." Daniel Ward reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Thank you. You're very brave. You know that," Lily smiled. "Mom always says I get that from my father." That night, Dr. Lila Ross arranged for the DNA test. It was quick and painless, just like Daniel Ward had promised. A nurse swabbed the inside of Lily's cheek and then Daniel Ward, and the samples were sent to a lab that Daniel Ward personally knew and trusted. "The results will be back in 3 days," Dr. Lila Ross told them. "But I can tell just by looking at you two that you're father and daughter. You have the same eyes, the same smile, even the same way of tilting your head when you're thinking." Daniel Ward smiled at that. He had noticed those similarities too. That night, Daniel Ward didn't want to leave Elena and Lily alone at the hospital. He arranged for a cot to be brought into Elena's room so Lily could sleep there, and he himself dozed in the chair by the window, unwilling to be apart from them. In the middle of the night, Elena woke up. The foreign medications were helping, and she felt clearer-headed than she had in months. She looked around the room and saw Lily sleeping peacefully on the cot covered with a warm blanket. Then she saw Daniel Ward in the chair, his head tilted back, asleep, but looking uncomfortable. Quietly, careful not to wake either of them, Elena whispered, "Thank you, God. Thank you for bringing him back to us." The next 3 days passed in a blur. Elena grew stronger each day. The antibiotics were fighting the infection, and proper food and rest were bringing color back to her face. Lily spent her days at the hospital doing homework in Elena's room and getting to know Daniel Ward better. Daniel Ward barely left their side. He called his office and told his assistant to cancel all his meetings. Nothing was more important than being with his family. On the third day, Dr. Lila Ross came into the room with an envelope. "The DNA results are here," she said, handing the envelope to Daniel Ward. Everyone went quiet. Lily sat up on the cot. Elena reached for Daniel Ward's hand. Even though they all believed they knew what the results would say, seeing it in writing would make it official, undeniable. Daniel Ward opened the envelope with trembling hands. He pulled out the 6 paper and read it. For a moment, he didn't move. He just stared at the paper. Then he looked up at Lily, and his face broke into the biggest, most joyful smile anyone had ever seen. 99.9% match, he read aloud, his voice thick with emotion. "Lily, you are my daughter. Officially, scientifically, undeniably, my daughter." Lily jumped off the cot and ran to Daniel Ward. He picked her up and spun her around, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. "I have a dad," Lily cried. "I really have a dad, and I have a daughter," Daniel Ward said, holding her tight. "The most wonderful daughter in the whole world." Elena watched them, tears streaming down her face. But these were happy tears, tears of relief and joy and hope. Her family was finally together. Daniel Ward sat Lily down and went to Elena's bedside. He took her hand and kissed it gently. "Our daughter," he said softly. "We have a daughter, Elena." "I know," Elena whispered. "I'm sorry it took so long for you to know, too. The past is the past." Daniel Ward said what matters now is the future, our future together. But even as they celebrated, Daniel Ward knew there was still one huge obstacle they had to face. His mother. She still didn't know about Elena and Lily, and when she found out, Daniel Ward knew there would be a battle. His mother had controlled his life for too long, had made too many decisions for him, had destroyed his happiness once before. But not this time. This time, Daniel Ward was ready to fight. The next morning, Daniel Ward woke up early. He had barely slept, his mind turning over what he needed to do. Elena and Lily were still sleeping peacefully. Elena in her hospital bed, looking healthier than she had in days, and Lily curled up on the cot, hugging her old stuffed animal. Daniel Ward looked at them for a long moment, feeling his resolve strengthened. These were his people, his family, and he would protect them no matter what. He quietly left the room and went down to the hospital lobby. Outside, the sun was just rising, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Daniel Ward pulled out his phone and made a call. "Mother," he said when she answered, "I need to see you today. It's important." His mother, Margaret Ward, sounded annoyed at being called so early. "Daniel Ward, darling, I'm having brunch with the ladies from the charity board at 11. Can't this wait?" "No," Daniel Ward said firmly. "It can't wait. Cancel your brunch." "I'll be at the house in 1 hour, Daniel Ward." "Really? Your tone? 1 hour, mother?" Daniel Ward repeated and hung up before she could argue. He went back upstairs and found Elena awake. She smiled when she saw him, but the smile faded when she saw the serious look on his face. "You're going to see her, aren't you?" Elena said quietly. "Your mother?" Daniel Ward nodded. "I have to. She needs to know about you and Lily, and she needs to answer for what she did 10 years ago. Elena's hand went to her throat nervously. "Daniel Ward, maybe we should wait." "Maybe. No more waiting," Daniel Ward said gently but firmly. He sat on the edge of her bed and took her hand. "Elena, I've let my mother control my life for too long. She chose my schools, my career, even tried to choose my friends. But the one thing I chose for myself was you. I loved you. I wanted to marry you, and she took that away from both of us. But what if she can't hurt you anymore?" Daniel Ward interrupted. "I won't let her. Elena, you and Lily are going to be safe. I promise you that." Elena searched his face and saw the determination there. This was not the young man she had known 10 years ago, the one who had loved her, but who had still been under his mother's thumb. This was a man who had grown stronger, harder, more sure of himself. Okay, Elena whispered. But Daniel Ward, be careful. Your mother is very clever, very manipulative. I know, Daniel Ward said. I've had 10 years to see that clearly. Lily woke up, then rubbing her eyes sleepily. Where are you going? She asked Daniel Ward. Daniel Ward went over and kissed the top of her head, a gesture that came naturally to him. Now, I have to go talk to someone, but I'll be back soon. You stay here and take care of your mom. Okay, Lily said. Then, more quietly, is it her, the mean grandmother? Daniel Ward was surprised. How did you? I heard you and Mom talking last night, Lily admitted. I wasn't really asleep. Daniel Ward knelt down beside the cot, so he was eye level with Lily. Yes, I'm going to talk to her, and I'm going to make sure she understands that she can never hurt you or your mother again. What if she tries to take us away from you? Lily asked, fear creeping into her voice. She can't, Daniel Ward said firmly. You're my daughter. The DNA test proves it. And your mother is the woman I love. No one, not my mother, not anyone, can change that. Lily threw her arms around his neck. Come back soon, she whispered. I will, Daniel Ward promised. An hour later, Daniel Ward pulled up to his mother's house, a huge estate on the other side of town, even bigger than his own mansion. This was where he had grown up, in this cold, perfect house where everything had to be just right, and nothing was ever quite good enough. He used his key to let himself in. The housekeeper, Mrs. Lopez, looked surprised to see him. Mr. Daniel Ward, your mother didn't tell me you were coming. Where is she? Daniel Ward asked. In the morning room, sir. But she's not in a good mood. She had to cancel her brunch. Daniel Ward didn't wait to hear more. He walked through the familiar halls with their expensive paintings and antique furniture, straight to the morning room where his mother always had her breakfast. Margaret Ward was sitting at a small table by the window, looking elegant as always in a designer suit, her gray hair perfectly styled. She was reading the newspaper and sipping coffee from a delicate china cup. She looked up when Daniel Ward entered, her expression cool and slightly annoyed. Daniel Ward, she said, this had better be important. I had to disappoint Mrs. Fairchild, and you know how she gets. It's important, Daniel Ward said, closing the door behind him. He didn't sit down. He stood in front of her, his hands clenched at his sides. Where were you 10 years ago on the night of March 15th? His mother's face showed nothing. March 15th, Daniel Ward, that was 10 years ago. How on earth would I remember? You remember, Daniel Ward said coldly, because that was the night Elena disappeared. That was the night the woman I loved vanished without a trace, and I've spent the last 10 years wondering why. Margaret sat down her coffee cup carefully. Daniel Ward, this is about that girl again. I thought you'd moved past. Her name is Elena, Daniel Ward interrupted, his voice rising. And I haven't moved past her because I never stopped loving her. But you knew that, didn't you, Mother? You've always known. I don't know what you're talking about, Margaret said coolly. But there was something in her eyes, a flicker of worry quickly hidden. Don't lie to me, Daniel Ward said. Not anymore. Elena told me everything. She told me how you came to her with your thugs in the middle of the night, how you threatened to have her arrested on false charges, how you gave her money and told her to disappear. Margaret's face remained calm, but her fingers tightened around her coffee cup. If this Elena person told you such ridiculous stories, she's not lying, Daniel Ward shouted, his control finally breaking. I know she's not lying because it's exactly the kind of thing you would do. You've been controlling my life since I was born. You chose my school, my friends, my career. You've manipulated and threatened and schemed to make sure everything goes according to your plan. But Elena wasn't part of your plan, was she? She was just a normal girl, not rich enough, not important enough for your precious son. She was completely unsuitable. Margaret snapped, her own composure cracking. She was a nobody, Daniel Ward. A poor girl with no family, no connections, no prospects. She would have dragged you down, ruined everything I worked so hard to build for you. There it is, Daniel Ward said, his voice shaking with anger. Finally, the truth. You did threaten her. You did drive her away. Margaret stood up, her eyes flashing. I did what was necessary to protect you. You were young and foolish, infatuated with a pretty face. You would have thrown away your entire future for her. I loved her, Daniel Ward shouted. I loved her and you destroyed it. You destroyed both our lives because of your pride and your obsession with status. I saved you from making a terrible mistake. Margaret shot back. That girl would have trapped you, gotten pregnant deliberately to secure her future. She did get pregnant, Daniel Ward roared. The room went completely silent. Margaret stared at her son, her face pale. What? Elena was pregnant when you drove her away, Daniel Ward said, his voice now cold and hard. She was carrying my child, my daughter. And because of what you did, I didn't know about her. For 9 years, I didn't know I had a daughter. Margaret's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Her name is Lily, Daniel Ward continued. She's 9 years old. She's smart and brave and beautiful, and she's been living in poverty in a one-room apartment, selling oranges on the street to buy medicine for her sick mother. My daughter, your granddaughter, living like that because of what you did. Daniel Ward, I didn't know. I thought, no, you didn't know because you didn't care. Daniel Ward said, you didn't care what happened to Elena after you threatened her. You didn't care that she might be pregnant. You just wanted her gone and damned the consequences. Margaret sank back into her chair, her usual composure completely shattered. You have a daughter? She whispered. Yes, Daniel Ward said. I have a daughter, and I have the DNA test to prove it. 99.9% match. She is my mother, undeniably, legally, biologically mine. I didn't know, Margaret repeated, but her voice was weak now, uncertain. That doesn't make it better, Daniel Ward said. In fact, it makes it worse. You were so focused on your own plans, your own vision of what my life should be, that you didn't stop to think about the consequences. You threatened an innocent pregnant woman and drove her away. You kept me from my own child. Margaret looked up at him, and for the first time in his life, Daniel Ward saw something like fear in his mother's eyes. What? What are you going to do? Daniel Ward walked to the window and looked out at the perfectly manicured garden. When he spoke, his voice was quiet but firm. Elena and Lily are my family now, he said. They're going to live with me. I'm going to take care of them, protect them, give them the life they should have had all along. And you, Mother, are going to leave them alone. Daniel Ward, I'm not finished, Daniel Ward said, turning to face her. If you ever threaten Elena or Lily again, if you try to hurt them or drive them away or manipulate them in any way, I will cut you out of my life completely. No visits, no phone calls, no family events. You will never see me or your granddaughter again. Do you understand? Margaret's face had gone white. You can't mean that, Daniel Ward. I'm your mother, and Elena is the woman I love, and Lily is my daughter. Daniel Ward said they come first always. You can either accept that and be part of our lives, or you can fight it and lose me forever. The choice is yours. Margaret sat frozen, staring at her son. She had never seen him like this, so strong, so certain, so beyond her control. I want to meet her, she finally said quietly. Oh, Elena or Lily? Both of them, Margaret said. I want to meet my granddaughter. Daniel Ward studied his mother carefully. Was this genuine, or was it another manipulation? Why? He asked suspiciously. Margaret was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than Daniel Ward had ever heard. Because I made a terrible mistake. Because I let my pride and my plans destroy something precious. And because... She paused, her hands trembling slightly. Because I want to try to make it right, if that's even possible. Daniel Ward didn't trust this sudden change of heart, but he saw something in his mother's eyes that gave him pause. Regret, maybe, or shame, or perhaps just the realization that she had finally pushed too far and was about to lose everything. You'll meet them, Daniel Ward said slowly, but not yet. First, Elena needs to get better. She's been very ill because she couldn't afford proper medical care because she was struggling alone to raise our daughter. When she's strong enough, when she's ready, then you can meet them. But Mother, he stepped closer, his voice hard. If you say one word, one single word that hurts either of them, if you show any sign of the cruelty you showed 10 years ago, you will never see any of us again. I mean it. Margaret nodded slowly. I understand. Do you? Daniel Ward challenged. Do you really understand what you did? You didn't just separate two people who loved each other. You forced a woman to raise a child alone in poverty. You kept a father from his daughter. You created years of suffering because you thought you knew better than everyone else. Tears appeared in Margaret's eyes, something Daniel Ward had never seen before. His mother never cried. "I thought I was protecting you," she whispered. "No," Daniel Ward said coldly. "You thought you were controlling me. There's a difference." He turned to leave, then stopped at the door and looked back. "I'm going to marry Elena," he said. "As soon as she's well enough, I'm going to ask her to be my wife. And this time, Mother, nothing you say or do will stop me. She and Lily are my family now. They are what matters. Remember that." He walked out, leaving his mother sitting alone in the morning room, for once in her life, completely speechless and powerless. Daniel Ward drove back to the hospital, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. The confrontation with his mother had left him shaking, not with fear, but with relief. For the first time in his life, he had stood up to her completely. He had chosen his own happiness over her control. When he walked back into Elena's hospital room, both Elena and Lily looked up anxiously. "How did it go?" Elena asked nervously. Daniel Ward sat down on the edge of her bed and took her hand. She admitted it. She admitted everything, threatening you, driving you away. All of it. Elena's eyes widened. "She did?" "Yes. And I told her that if she ever tries to hurt you or marry again, she'll lose me forever." Daniel Ward looked at both of them. "You're my family now. You come first always." Lily ran over and hugged Daniel Ward tightly. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "What did she say?" Elena asked. Is she angry?" "I think she's scared," Daniel Ward said honestly. "She realizes she went too far and that she might lose everything. She asked to meet you both." Elena went pale. "I don't know if I can face her, Daniel Ward. I'm still afraid of her." "You don't have to see her until you're ready," Daniel Ward said firmly. "And when you do, I'll be right there beside you. She can't hurt you anymore, Elena. I won't let her." Over the next few days, Elena continued to recover. The infection was clearing up. Her strength was returning, and color was coming back to her face. Dr. Lila Ross was pleased with her progress. "Another few days and you should be able to go home," the doctor said with a smile. "Home?" Elena repeated softly, looking at Daniel Ward. "I don't really have a home to go to that apartment." "You're coming home with me," Daniel Ward said immediately. "Both of you to my house." "Our house," he looked at Lily. "Would you like that to live in the big house with the garden?" Lily's face lit up. "Really? We can live there." "Of course," Daniel Ward said. "It's been too empty for too long. It needs a family to fill it with life." And laughter. Elena started crying again. Happy tears this time. "Daniel Ward, are you sure? This is all happening so fast." "We've already lost 10 years, Daniel Ward said gently. "I don't want to waste another day." On Elena's last day in the hospital, Daniel Ward brought them both new clothes, beautiful, comfortable clothes that fit properly and looked brand new because they were. Lily twirled in her new dress, giggling with delight. Elena ran her hands over the soft fabric of her new outfit, hardly believing it was hers. When they left the hospital, Daniel Ward car was waiting. He drove them not to his house, but somewhere else first. "Where are we going?" Lily asked from the back seat. "You'll see," Daniel Ward said with a mysterious smile. He pulled up in front of a nice restaurant, the kind with white tablecloths and fancy silverware. Elena looked nervous. "Daniel Ward, I don't think I'm dressed nicely enough for a place like this." "You look beautiful," Daniel Ward said. "And besides, I know the owner. Come on." Inside, they were seated at a quiet table by the window. Lily had never been to a restaurant like this. She stared at everything with wide eyes. The crystal glasses, the cloth napkins, the menu with dishes she couldn't even pronounce. "Order anything you want," Daniel Ward told her. They had a wonderful meal. Lily tried things she'd never tasted before. Elena laughed more than she had in years. And Daniel Ward just watched them, his heart so full it felt like it might burst. After dessert, Daniel Ward reached across the table and took Elena's hand. "Elena," he said softly, 10 years ago I was going to ask you something. I had bought a ring and everything. I was just waiting for the right moment." Elena's breath caught. "Daniel Ward. But then you disappeared, and I thought I'd lost my chance forever." Daniel Ward pulled a small box from his pocket. "I kept the ring all these years. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Somehow, I always hoped. He opened the box. Inside was a beautiful diamond ring. Simple but elegant, Lily gasped. Elena's hand flew to her mouth. Elena, Daniel Ward said, his voice thick with emotion. I know we've been through so much. I know we have a lot to rebuild, but I've loved you for 10 years, and I'll love you for 10,000 more. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Elena's face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Daniel Ward. Yes, Daniel Ward slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, just as it had been meant to all those years ago. Then he stood up, pulled Elena to her feet, and kissed her, while Lily clapped and laughed and cried all at the same time. The other people in the restaurant noticed and started clapping too. It was a moment of pure joy, pure love, pure rightness. That evening, they finally went to Daniel Ward's mansion. When Lily walked through the gates this time, it felt completely different. Last time, she had been a poor girl selling oranges, afraid and uncertain. Now she was coming home. Elena stood in the entrance hall, looking around with wonder and a little bit of fear. This is really going to be our home. Our home? Daniel Ward confirmed. He turned to Lily. Do you want to pick out your room? The house has 8 bedrooms. You can have whichever one you want. Lily's eyes went huge. My own room? Really? Really? Daniel Ward said with a laugh. Come on, I'll show you. They walked through the house together, and Lily looked at each bedroom. Finally, she chose one on the second floor with big windows that looked out over the garden. It had pale yellow walls and plenty of space for Sanand playing. This one, she said with certainty. This is perfect. Then it's yours, Daniel Ward said. Tomorrow, we'll go shopping for furniture and decorations. You can pick out everything. Bed, desk, toys, books, whatever you want. Lily hugged him tight. Thank you, Dad. It was the first time she had called him that without any hesitation, and the word made Daniel Ward's heart soar. That night, they ordered pizza and ate it sitting on the floor of the living room, laughing and talking. Daniel Ward told Lily stories about when he was young. Elena shared memories of when Lily was a baby. They were starting to weave their separate histories into one shared story. Later, after Lily had fallen asleep in her new room on a temporary mattress Daniel Ward had set up, Daniel Ward and Elena sat together in the garden under the stars. I still can't believe this is real, Elena said softly, leaning against Daniel Ward's shoulder. It feels like a dream. If it is, I never want to wake. Up, Daniel Ward said. He turned to look at her in the moonlight. Elena, I need to ask you something. Will you forgive me? Forgive you? Elena looked confused. For what? For not finding you sooner. For not seeing through my mother's manipulation. For not being there when Lily was born. When you were struggling. When you needed me most. Elena took his face in her hands. Daniel Ward, none of that was your fault. You didn't know. If anyone needs forgiveness, it's me. I should have found a way to tell you the truth. I should have been braver. We were both victims of my mother's cruelty, Daniel Ward said. But that's over now. From now on, we make our own choices. We build our own life together, Elena said. Together, Daniel Ward agreed. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just being close to each other after so many years apart. When do you think we should get married? Claire asked. Tomorrow. Daniel Ward suggested, making her laugh. I need a little more time than that, Elena said, but soon. I don't want to wait too long. We've already waited enough. Next month then, Daniel Ward said. A small ceremony, just family and close friends. Nothing fancy, just us promising to love each other forever. That sounds perfect, Elena said. There's one more thing we need to discuss, Daniel Ward said, his tone becoming more serious. My mother, she still wants to meet you and Lily. Elena tensed. I know, and I know I'll have to face her eventually, but Daniel Ward, I'm still scared of her. I understand, Daniel Ward said, and you don't have to see her until you're ready. But Elena, I think Lily should know who her grandmother is. Not because Margaret deserves it, but because Lily deserves to know her full family, even the difficult parts. Elena thought about this. You're right, she finally said, but I want to be there when they meet. And at the first sign of any meanness or manipulation, we leave immediately, Daniel Ward promised. I won't let her hurt either of you. 2 weeks later, Elena felt ready. Daniel Ward arranged for his mother to come to the mansion, not the other way around. This was their territory, their home, and Margaret would be the guest. The morning of the meeting, Lily was nervous. She wore one of her new dresses and kept fidgeting with the hem. "What if she doesn't like me?" Lily asked. "Then that's her loss," Elena said firmly. "Lily, you are wonderful exactly as you are. If your grandmother can't see that, it's her problem, not yours." "Your mom is right," Daniel Ward added. "And remember, we can end this visit at any time. If you feel uncomfortable or scared, just say the word, and she leaves." When the doorbell rang, they all tensed. Daniel Ward went to answer it, leaving Elena and Lily waiting in the living room. Margaret Ward walked in, and for the first time, Elena saw the woman who had destroyed her life 10 years ago. Margaret was tall and elegant, dressed in an expensive suit, her hair perfect, her jewelry understated, but clearly costly. She looked every inch the wealthy, powerful woman she was. But when Margaret's eyes landed on Lily, something in her face changed. She stopped walking and just stared. Lily looked back at her, trying to be brave, even though her heart was pounding. "She has your eyes, Daniel Ward," Margaret said softly, "and your father's smile." It was not what anyone had expected her to say. Margaret took a step closer to Lily, then seemed to remember herself and stopped. "Hello, Lily," she said, and her voice was gentler than Daniel Ward had ever heard it. "I'm your grandmother." "Hello," Lily said, quietly. Margaret turned to Elena, and the two women faced each other for the first time in 10 years. Elena instinctively moved closer to Daniel Ward, who put a protective arm around her. "Elena," Margaret said. Her voice was formal, controlled, but there was something underneath it. Shame, perhaps, or regret. I owe you an apology." The room went silent. "What I did to you 10 years ago was wrong," Margaret continued, each word seeming difficult for her to say. "I threatened you, I frightened you, and I drove you away from the man you loved. I did it because I thought I was protecting my son, but I was wrong. I hurt all three of you, Daniel Ward, and Lily, and for that I am truly sorry." Elena didn't know what to say. She had imagined this moment many times over the years, but she had always pictured Margaret being cruel or dismissive, never apologetic. "I don't expect you to forgive me," Margaret went on. "I'm not sure I deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know that if I could go back and change what I did, I would, and I want to ask if perhaps in time you might allow me to be part of Lily's life, to try to be the grandmother she deserves." Daniel Ward was watching his mother with surprise and suspicion. Was this real, or was it another manipulation? Elena looked at Lily, who was watching her grandmother with curious eyes. Then Elena looked at Daniel Ward, who gave her a small nod. The decision was hers. "I can't forget what you did," Elena said finally, her voice steady. "And I'm not ready to forgive you yet." But she paused, thinking of Lily, thinking of family, thinking of second chances. "But I believe people can change. So if you truly mean what you say, if you really want to be part of Lily's life, then we can try." Slowly, with boundaries, Margaret's eyes grew shiny with tears. Real tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "That's more than I deserve." She turned to Lily again. "Lily, would it be all right if I sat down and talked with you for a few minutes? I'd like to get to know you." Lily looked at her parents, both of them now, not just one. Elena nodded encouragingly. Daniel Ward smiled. "Okay," Lily said. Margaret sat down carefully on the sofa, and Lily sat in a chair across from her. Daniel Ward and Elena stayed close, watching carefully, ready to intervene if needed. "Tell me about yourself," Margaret said to Lily. "What do you like to do? What's your favorite subject in school?" And slowly, carefully, Lily began to talk. She told her grandmother about her friends, about how she liked to draw, about her favorite books. Margaret listened, really listened, asking questions and seeming genuinely interested. As the conversation went on, Elena felt some of her fear begin to ease. Maybe Margaret really was trying to change. Maybe people could learn from their mistakes. The visit lasted about an hour. When it was time for Margaret to leave, she stood and looked at all three of them. "Thank you for giving me this chance," she said. "I know I have a long way to go to earn your trust, but I want to try." After she left, Daniel Ward let out a long breath. "Well, That was unexpected. Do you think she meant it? Elena asked. I think she's scared of losing me completely, Daniel Ward said honestly. But maybe that fear will make her better. Time will tell. Lily came over and hugged both her parents. I think she's sad, she said with a child's insight. I think she's been lonely for a long time, like all of us were. Daniel Ward looked down at his wise daughter and smiled. You might be right about that. The weeks passed and life in the mansion began to feel normal. Lily started at a new school, a good school, where the teachers were kind and the other kids were friendly. She made friends quickly and loved having her own room filled with books and toys and art supplies. Elena's health continued to improve. With good food, rest, and no stress, she became stronger every day. She started to look like the young woman in the photograph again, happy and full of life. Daniel Ward had never been happier. He woke up every morning to the sound of his daughter's laughter. He came home from work to Claire's smile. The mansion that had once felt cold and empty now felt warm and alive. Margaret kept her word. She visited once a week, always respectful, always careful not to overstep. She brought Mary gifts, but never tried to buy her affection. She was polite to Elena and seemed genuinely to be trying to make amends. Slowly, very slowly, the wounds began to heal. One evening, exactly 1 month after Daniel Ward had proposed, they held a small wedding ceremony in the mansion's garden. Lily was the flower girl, wearing a beautiful white dress and carrying a basket of rose petals. A few close friends attended, and even Margaret was there, sitting quietly in the back, crying softly throughout the ceremony. When Daniel Ward and Elena exchanged their vows, promising to love each other through everything, there wasn't a dry eye in the garden. I've loved you for 10 years, Daniel Ward said, holding Elena's hands, and I'll love you for the rest of my life. You are my home, Elena replied. You and Lily, you, always were. They kissed, and Lily cheered, and everyone clapped. It was a small wedding, but it was perfect. That night, after all the guests had left, and Lily was asleep upstairs, Daniel Ward and Elena stood in the garden where they had gotten married just hours before. Do you remember what you said to me the first day we met? Elena asked. Daniel Ward thought back. I think I said you had the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. You said that life was full of surprises. Elena corrected with a laugh. And you were right. I never could have imagined all of this when I was a scared girl running away 10 years ago. And I never imagined, Daniel Ward said, that a little girl selling oranges would walk into my life and give me back everything I thought I'd lost forever. They stood there in the moonlight holding each other, thinking about the long journey that had brought them to this moment. The pain, the separation, the lost years, all of it had led them here. Do you think we'll be happy? Elena asked. Softly. We already are, Daniel Ward replied. We have each other. We have Lily. We have a second chance that most people never get. Yes, Elena. We're going to be very happy. And they were. Lily grew up in the mansion surrounded by love and laughter. She never forgot the hard times, the tiny apartment, the days of selling oranges, the feeling of being without a father. But those memories made her kind and compassionate. She never took her blessings for granted. Daniel Ward and Elena's love only grew stronger with time. They had weathered the worst storm imaginable and come through it together. Nothing could shake them now. Even Margaret changed. She would never be warm or demonstrative, but she learned to be kinder, gentler. She learned that control wasn't love, and that sometimes letting go was the greatest gift you could give. Years later, when Lily was grown, she would sometimes tell her own children the story of how her parents found each other again. Your grandmother was selling oranges, she would say, and she knocked on a stranger's door. But that stranger wasn't a stranger at all. He was her father, the man who had been looking for her mother for 10 years. And when she asked one simple question, "Why is my mom's photo in your mansion?" everything changed. It sounds like a fairy tale, her children would say. It does, Lily would agree, but it's better than a fairy tale because it's true. And it teaches us that love never gives up. No matter how much time passes, no matter what obstacles get in the way, real love finds a way back home. And in the mansion that had once been cold and empty, the family lived happily. Not in the way fairy tales end, where everything is perfect, but in the real way where there were still challenges and hard days, but there was always love to carry them through. The photograph of young Elena that had started it all still sat on the table by the staircase. But now beside it was another photo, a new one showing Daniel Ward, Elena, and Lily, together, smiling, a complete family at last. And whenever any of them looked at those photographs, they remembered the truth that had saved them all. When love is real, it never truly ends. It waits, it hopes, it endures. And when the time is right, it finds its way back home. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Like, share, and comment on the lessons you've learned. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below.